Dear students, in this class we are going to be discussing about the second chapter in your organic chemistry, that is alcohols, phenols and ethers. First we are going to be discussing about the alcohols. Then what is alcohols? Alcohols means these are the organic compounds. These are the organic compounds. These are obtained either one or more hydrogen atoms of hydrocarbon is going to be replaced by that is hydroxyl groups. That is hydroxyl groups that we called as alcohols. Means if you are going to be taken one example, any hydrocarbon, if you are going to be taken that that is ethene. That is in that ethene, the one hydrogen atom is going to be replaced by the hydroxyl group. One or more hydrogen atom we can be replaced. If we are replacing the one hydrogen atom in the ethane by the hydroxyl group, we are going to be obtaining alcohol. The name of this alcohol is called as ethyl alcohol. The name of this compound we called as ethyl alcohol. Means generally the alcohols we are going to be represented by the formula, that is ROH. That is R is nothing but alkyl group. R is nothing but either alkyl group or a substituted alkyl group. Substituted alkyl group. This is about the general representation of the alcohols. Now we know that what is meant by alcohols. Alcohols are the organic compounds obtained by the replacing of one or more hydrogen atoms of hydrocarbons by the hydroxyl group. That we called as alcohols. Examples for the alcohols we can use ethyl alcohol. In methane, replacing the one hydrogen by the hydroxyl group, we are going to be get the methyl alcohol. Then if you are going to be taken some other example, that is this we call as a substituted alkyl group. This substituted alkyl group, this name of this we call as a benzyl alcohol. Means here these are the examples for the alcohols. The general representation of alcohols is ROH. R is nothing but either alkyl group or substituted alkyl group. Substituted alkyl group means this we can imitate. That is substituted alkyl group. This we are going to be taken as alkyl groups. The reason this one hydrogen atom is going to be replaced by the one hydroxyl groups. That we called as alcohols. Now we are going to be discussing about the classification. Classification of alcohols. This the classification of alcohols we are going to be done in the different ways. Now we are going to be discussing about the classification of these alcohols based on the number of hydroxyl groups present in the compound. Number of hydroxyl groups present in the compound. Means that is the classification of alcohols we are going to be done by the first method, that is based on number of hydroxyl groups. That we call as a based on number of hydroxyl groups. That is the first one we are going to be taken as a monohydric alcohols. Based on the number of hydroxyl groups, the alcohols are classified into monohydric alcohols, that is dihydric alcohols, trihydric alcohols, and the polyhydric alcohols. This Classification of alcohols done based on the number of hydroxyl groups. Now we'll study one by one. The first we are going to be discussing about the monohydric alcohols. Here the monohydric alcohols means these are the alcohols which contains only one hydroxyl group. That we call as a monohydric alcohol. Example, you can do this example. Example for this is the ethyl alcohol, methyl alcohol, etc. Means here the monohydric alcohols means these are the alcohols which contains only one hydroxyl group. Which contains only one hydroxyl group is called as a monohydric alcohol. Like that only we comes to that dihydric alcohols. Dihydric name itself it's going to be say that what is the meaning of the dihydric alcohols means these are the alcohols which contains the two hydroxyl groups. Two hydroxyl groups means that is example for this is ethylene glycol. That is CH2OH, then CH2OH. The name of this compound is ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol. This is ethyl alcohol. This we are called as a ethyl alcohol. Mean this is example for the dihydric alcohols. There is next we are going to discussing about the trihydric. Name itself indicates that it contains the three hydroxyl group. Means the alcohols which contains the three hydroxyl groups that we called as a trihydric alcohols. In this trihydric alcohols we are going to be taken an example glycerol. That is glycerol means that is CH2OH, then CHOH, CH2OH. The name of this compound is glycerol. Name of this compound is glycerol. Glycerol is example for the trihydric alcohol. The next polyhydric alcohols means more than three. More than the alcohols which contains more than three, otherwise the many number of hydroxyl groups. We can say that the alcohols which contains many number of hydroxyl groups that we call as a polyhydric alcohols. In that polyhydric alcohols we can give the example. That is for the polyhydric alcohol, that is S orbital. That is S orbital. If you are going to be taken at CH2OH, then CHOH, then CH2OH. Means this, the name of this compound is we call as S orbital. This is example for the polyhydric alcohols. This is about the classification of alcohols based on the number of hydroxyl groups. Until now we are discussed about the classification based on the number of hydroxyl groups. Now we are going to be discussing about it in that only monohydric alcohols. That is monohydric alcohols. This monohydric alcohols means we know that already. That is alcohols which contains only one hydroxyl group that we call as monohydric alcohols. This generally we are going to represent by CnH2n plus 1 OH. This we call as this is the general representation of the monohydric alcohols. That is otherwise we are going to take as ROH. This is the general representation of the monohydric alcohols. This we are going to be taken that monohydric alcohols means this again we are going to be classified into different types based on which group is attached which type of carbon atom. that we are going to be classified into. That is the first one we are going to be discussing about the alkyl alcohols. Alkyl alcohols. That is the second one allylic alcohols. Allylic alcohols. The third one is benzylic alcohols. Next is phenylic alcohols. Phenylic alcohols. This we are going to be studying one by one now. The first we are going to be discussing about the alkyl alcohols. The alkyl alcohols means these are the alcohols. There is the open chain saturated alcohols. This we call it as open chain saturated alcohols. We call it as alkyl alcohols. Example for this you can say that there is a CH3, CHOOH, there is a ethyl alcohol, open chain. There is a open chain saturated alcohols we call it as alkyl alcohols. This again there is a CH3 OH, then CH3 OH. In this you can see that this is an open chain saturated compound. In this the OH is going to be attached with the carbon. That is sp3 hybridized carbon. The OH is attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon in all these three cases. In this again we are going to be classified this alkyl alcohols. Again we are going to be classified into three types based on the there is a OH group is attached to the either primary carbon atom, secondary carbon atom, or tertiary carbon atom. Here this we call as a primary alkyl alcohol. This we call as a secondary alkyl alcohol. This we call as a tertiary alkyl alcohol. Why this we call as a primary, secondary, tertiary? Because this OH group is attached to the carbon which is only having the bond with the only one carbon. This carbon is only bonded with the one carbon. That's why it's called as a primary alkyl alcohol. This OH group is attached to carbon. This carbon is attached to the two carbon atoms. That's why it's called as a secondary alkyl alcohol. This carbon is tertiary carbon. It is attached to the three carbon atoms. That's why it's called as tertiary carbon. Then the OH group is attached to the tertiary carbon. Therefore, we call it as a tertiary alkyl alcohols. The alkyl alcohols is nothing but open chain. That is open chain saturated alcohols, monohydric alcohols. Saturated monohydric alcohols is called as alkyl alcohols. This we are alkyl alcohols again we are classified into three types. That is primary, secondary, tertiary. Is based on the OH group is attached to which type of carbon atom. Either primary is primary alcohol. The secondary is secondary alkyl alcohols. Tertiary means tertiary alkyl alcohols. Like that only we are going to be discussing about the allylic alcohols. The what is meant by allylic carbon? The carbon which is attached to the carbon-carbon double bond. The carbon atom which is attached to the carbon-carbon double bond is called as allylic carbon. Means if you are going to be taken the carbon, this carbon is going to be attached to the carbon-carbon double bond. This carbon which is attached to the carbon-carbon double bond is called as a allylic carbon. This is going to be balancing this. Then this we call it as a allylic alcohol. The allylic alcohol is the OH group, that is a hydroxyl group which is attached to the allylic carbon. Allylic carbon means the carbon which is attached to the carbon-carbon double bond. That we call it as a allylic carbon. Allylic alcohols means the hydroxyl group which is attached to the allylic carbon, that we called as a, that is allylic alcohols, that we called as a allylic alcohols. This we called as a allylic alcohols. This also again we are going to be classified into, that is 3 types. This we called as a primary allylic alcohol. Next we are going to be discussing about the secondary. This we call as a secondary allylic alcohol. Next there is this we call as a tertiary allylic alcohols. Allylic alcohol means the again these allylic alcohols again classified into 3 types based on the OH group is attached to which type of, that is allylic carbon, means allylic carbon, primary allylic carbon, secondary allylic carbon, tertiary allylic carbon. Here the carbon is, this carbon we call as a allylic carbon. Why it is called as a allylic carbon? Because of this carbon is attached to the carbon-carbon double bond. That's why it's called as a allylic carbon. This, the OH group is attached to allylic carbon, that we call as a allylic alcohols. That we call as a allylic alcohols. The next we are going to be discussing about the benzylic alcohols. That is benzylic alcohols means these are the alcohols. In aromatic in the aromatic alcohols, there is a OH group attached to the side chain. That is a side chain carbon, that we call as a, that is a benzylic alcohols. Example, if you are going to be taken that there is a aromatic ring benzene. That is the OH group, the hydroxyl group which is going to be attached to the carbon which is directly linked with the aromatic ring, that we call as a benzylic, alcohols. This is primary benzylic alcohol. Then like that only it comes to that secondary. That is secondary benzylic alcohol. It comes to the secondary benzylic alcohol. This we call as a secondary benzylic alcohol. This we call the secondary benzylic alcohol. And next we call as a, that is a tertiary benzylic alcohol. This we call as a tertiary benzylic alcohol. Tertiary benzylic alcohol means here the benzylic alcohol means the hydroxyl group. The hydroxyl group attached to the carbon. That carbon is directly linked to the aromatic ring, that we call as a benzylic alcohols. In the benzylic alcohols, again we are going to classify it into 3 types. That is the OH group attached to carbon, either primary or secondary or tertiary. Based on that we are going to classify into 3 types. That is the primary, secondary and tertiary. Then finally we are going to be discussing about the vinylic alcohols. These are the alcohols in which the hydroxyl group which is directly attached to the carbon containing a double bond, that we call as the vinylic alcohols. Example for this is, that is CH2 double bond CHOH. This we call as a vinylic alcohol, that is phenyl alcohol. This we call as a vinylic alcohol. This about the, that is it is based on the, that is type of carbon which is attached to the substituents, is also present on the substitute. Here this I said that this R is nothing but alkali or substituted alkali. Alkyl means that is the open chain saturated monohydric that we call as alkyl alcohols. It is allylic is substituted with the carbon. Benzylic is substituted with the carbon. Means this about the classification of alcohols.